There is something called the cohabitation effect. One of the most studied findings is called cohabitation effect. Couples who cohabit before clear engagement or commitment have on average higher rates of marital dissatisfaction and divorce later. Hello, sister, park into his house. Look up here. I know you go to church. I don't even understand it. I don't understand the rationale. Where are you coming from? Who mentored you? How can you carry your dignity as a woman and literalize it on the altar of "he will be my husband"? Where is the glory? Where is the glory? Where is the mystique? Where is the thing that man is looking forward to? Where is that first night kind of that? Do you understand what I'm saying? That first night, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen this night. What is the value of the first night after the wedding when we've always been having all night before the wedding? I don't understand the way we deceive ourselves. You see us, we now wear this white gown, the guy will wear black suit, and then when they say, "Can you kiss the bride?" The guy will tell you, as if you shut your mouth up, sir. Is that what you guys say? You suck your mouth. Is that what you do regularly? You now be doing in church as if you've never touched each other before. Who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? Sadly speaking, the church also seems to have lost our moral strength to ask the question, have you been living together? And even when we know they are living together, we still go ahead and join them. So gradually, the moral fiber of the church is being compromised on a regular basis. I think very soon we're going to have a situation whereby we know people to be adulterers and fornicators. They are pregnant and all kinds. The church will be a place where just wed them. Grace covers all. That's where we're going to. There's no more integrity in the house of God. Let me look at your neighbor and say, I see now it's like you're getting angry. You want to leave. You're not going anywhere. Because you came from his house. You came from his house. I know. He dropped you. Or maybe two of you are together. You all came from home. She was dressing. You were dressing. Are you done in the bathroom? I'm coming. Finish. I want to come. You're not married. And you're even a worship leader. You're a minister of the gospel. There's a call on your life. And this is how we do it. Let me say this. If you start like this, what will you preach tomorrow? You can't stand right and preach right when you were bent all through from the beginning to the end. How can you preach right standing when you lived a compromised life? This is not about legalism. This is about the integrity of the Christian faith. Unbelievers are looking at us and they are laughing. They see these ones. And associate their sticker, our year of somersaulting. In the entire compound, the noise from your bedroom every night is the loudest. Even married couples, you don't hear anything from their bedroom. Married couple, 15 years. Nobody knows that they are married. But you are yet to be married. Every night is boom, 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 boom. Everywhere is shaking. Yet to be married. They are putting cotton wool in their hair. God, don't let me. Some of them are even sending me, God, I beg, go and tell them they should stop what they are doing. It's you they are cautioning. No honor, shame, no sense of dignity. The sad part of it is that you will even come to church, you will hear things like this, your mind is made up. Until when the consequences are there, then you will realize that God had warned you. The sad part of it is that sometimes the time is gone. Season is over. Cohabitation. And it doesn't matter what part of the world you are in, cohabitation is wrong. Please, so that you don't think I'm quoting scripture here. This is from Stanley Rhodes and Mackman, a study they did together. And they said one of the things that they found out in their studies, these are not Christians. They said they found out that couples who cohabit before clear engagement or commitment have on average higher rates of marital dissatisfaction and divorce later. It's a study. Are you aware also that cohabitation can create what we call relationship inertia? Listen to this. A study found out that cohabitation creates constraint. Cohabitation creates constraint. Because don't forget that in some places when you are cohabiting together, you start paying bills together. Right? Because you must contribute to the ecosystem. Abi? You stay here, you live here, watch him, you pay for DSTV. You like Netflix, so you have to pay for. Okay, you always like something that's cold. Buy fridge. Before you know, TV is my own, house rent is my own, bedroom is your own. You are the one that buy beddings. The fridge, gas cooker, you are the one that bought it. So the house is a mixed house. So study shows that cohabitation creates constraint, whereby even though one person wants to leave, because our monies are intertwined, sometimes we have even gone into investment. We will eventually continue. I know it is wrong, but I have my investment in it. Then there's the other psychological and emotional side of it, whereby I was with the guy, I was with the girl, and I knew he was nothing, she was nothing, but as we were together, now I don't want this guy, I don't want this girl anymore, okay? Because this is not the kind of, I haven't stayed with this person, this is not the kind of person I want to live with, okay? By virtue of the fact that there's nothing more to offer me, I've gotten everything I wanted. So, but the challenge now becomes for the lady. This guy is now beginning to make more money in oil and gas. The lady now begins to tell herself, yes, I know he's not the kind of person I'd like to marry. This guy is very useless. But I'm the one that labored for him to get here. I will not watch another woman. Are you seeing where we're going to now? These are the effects of cohabitation. Whereby, by virtue of the fact that we have already shared rent, furniture, finances, social cycles, this constraint makes breakup to become harder. Even when compatibility is weak. We know it is weak. So, rather than decide to marry, we slide into marriage. So it's a slide, not decide. Let's just keep sliding. Because after all, too much is already on the line. Or along the line, I already got pregnant. So how am I going to leave him? Along the line, God opened the door for her to go to Canada. Is she going to leave me here? Another guy will now reap her. So we are now like harvest. Like corn, you know. The danger of cohabitation. It creates relationship inertia. So you are not able to move. Because too much is already invested. Number 3, it lowers relationship satisfaction. Research has shown, meta-analysis show that couples who cohabit before engagement often report slightly lower marital satisfaction and higher conflict compared to those who delay cohabitation until they get married. So there are higher chances of conflict, lower marital satisfaction. When we stay together, important nuance. When cohabitation follows clear commitment, the risk decreases significantly. And the best way is to make sure it ends up in marriage. We go into marriage rather than waste our time together. Number 4, sexual dynamics shift when we cohabit. Sexual dynamics shift when we cohabit. Cohabitation often accelerates sexual intimacy before relational foundation is already set. Yes, that's what happens when you cohabit together eventually. And no, Pastor, we just want to be around each other. Nothing is going to happen. No, by the grace of God, sir. I've told him that no, I'm only just going to be. He will be in the parlor. Me, I will be in the bedroom, sir. Not, sir, Daddy, trust me. Not, sir. I know who I am. By the grace of God. Hallelujah. Sir, I will. There's pillow. That's how there's blocked the. You don't keep a man inside the house wandering for too long. We are imaginative. You mean you just wore that your pajamas and I came. I'm going to sleep. Oh, good night. God be with you. Please remember nothing. Oh. So I should be imagining. Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Can a man carry fire in his bosom and his garment will not be burnt? Talk to me. You carry fire, put in your bosom. I say my cloth will not burn. It will not burn. Eleza. Fire don't go burn me. Really? Proximity increases affinity. Affinity compromises sexual boundaries. The more we keep getting closer, the more we keep visiting each other, particularly when we start spending time together. Studies have shown that when you stay with the opposite sex within a confine for 72 hours, that gradually your sexual boundaries will begin to wear down. If 2 of you are there alone. 72 hours. It just takes 72 hours, sexual boundaries will begin to go down. After a while, somebody will slide on somebody. Somebody will slide on somebody. Number 5, commitment ambiguity. When cohabiting couples report, now listen, when cohabiting couples stay together, what normally happens is that it lowers clarity about future plans, marriage timelines. That's why you notice that when people cohabit together, you just see them go from 1 year, we'll marry. When are we marrying? We will marry. 3 years. I've seen people that cohabit for 13 years. Yes. In fact, let me share this with you. I know of a family whereby cohabitation is the practice of all the girls. They will have children, grown-up children. The woman is still cohabiting, not married. I'm sure you know that is prevalent in some part of Nigeria. Whereby you are cohabiting, you already have children, grown-up children, and you are cohabiting. It's prevalent in the South. You are having children, and we're still hoping we'll marry one day. Junior is 25, don't worry, we'll marry one day. So ambiguity can produce anxiety. Okay? Number 6. One of the things that cohabitation does is that it creates economic motivation overriding relational readiness. Research shows that many singles cohabit primarily for financial convenience. And that one is a trap. And let me stay with her, let me stay with him so that I can lower our cost. It has lowered your cost, but to increase your pain. All right? Economic reasons will not necessarily align with emotional compatibility. When housing logistics drive relationship, relational evaluation may become secondary. Very dangerous thing to do in cohabitation. Increase breakup rates before marriage. Yes, cohabiting couples break up at higher rates than dating non-cohabiting couples. Take note of that. While breakup is not inherently negative, frequent cohabitation breaks relationships. It's a very terrible thing to do. It creates emotional fatigue attachment anxiety, trust difficulties, and the rest of that. How do all of these things happen? Everything begins with exposure. All these things, pornography, masturbation, cohabitation, exposure. It begins with exposure. It gets reinforced. You get to meet the person, you get to meet the program, you get to watch it. So everything begins with exposure. You have to, if you don't defeat it at the level of exposure, then you are going to have a situation whereby it will become reinforced. And it is from reinforcement that habits have formed. When habits are formed, tolerance has taken place. From tolerance, you now move into escalation. From escalation, it now desensitizes you. And finally, it becomes a compulsive behavior. You now swim in it naturally. It begins with just something you looked at and decided to look at again. It begins with something you touched and decided to touch and hold again. It begins with a place you went to. And instead of making that visit your last visit, you decided to try visiting again. Everything always begins with that moment when you were exposed to it and decided not to confront it. The way out for us as singles who want to get married this year is to make sure, first of all, that pornography is not part of our lives this year. Defeat it now. And trust me, this is not to condemn, but to make you to be aware that this thing is a very, and let me say this, God is watching you.